Further debate? I recognize a member from Cambridge.
Thank you, Speaker. First, before I begin, I want to make it clear that I am going to support this bill, even though the member for York Centre didn't back me up to support the charge against Bill 12 on mandatory vaccinations, and even though he didn't back me up when I got barred from the legislature for 90 days after recovering from COVID. I'm not going to play politics, Speaker. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to support this bill that the member for York Centre has put forward based on ideas that I have been advocating for since the beginning of summer. Even though I don't think they go far enough, I'm going to support the bill, Speaker, because it's the right thing to do for Ontario and for Ontario voters. Speaker, I'm happy to speak to the private member's bill tabled by the member for York Centre, Bill 6, Jobs and Jabs Act, that encompasses an idea, like I said, that I've been promoting since last summer. Speaker, the idea that no employer should have the right to fire an employee over the employee's choice not to reveal their vaccine status. Speaker, not only do I support this bill, I don't think this bill goes far enough. It shouldn't be a question of severance. Employers in this province need to be fined for using such a proof of passport measure because it is discrimination, plain and simple, and does not result in the so-called fantasy of COVID-0, as we were promised. Speaker, you may remember back in July 2020 when I was the only current or former PC MPP to vote against Bill 195, the Reopening Ontario Act, and was subsequently kicked out of the PC party. And there were many people who didn't understand why. They said I should have voted in favour of it or skipped it. As the parliamentary assistant for the ministry the bill was presented under, it was certainly too bad that I didn't get a chance to see the bill until it was actually tabled. It was a shame, Speaker. And Speaker, I wish I could tell you sitting here 2 years later, sitting next to some of the members who voted for this bill, sitting near to the member for Chatham, Kent Leamington, who told the media that he thought the Premier was doing an A- job, an excellent job at COVID-19 with this bill, but that Bill 195 wasn't so bad. I really do. But I still can't believe that the Premier brought forward a bill and asked his caucus to support the idea that says they don't get a chance to vote or debate on emergency measures and mandates for a year, and they all went along with it, every single one of them. They saw nothing wrong with it. I have no idea what they thought they were elected to do, Speaker, but I voted against Bill 195 because it was my job to vote. My job isn't to skip votes. And while we have jumped from lockdown to lockdown, and our Premier consistently flip-flopped on important decisions, I continue to hear stories of people's livelihoods and careers lost because of this government's promotion of public and private sector employers to implement these passport measures under the guise of, well, it's their choice. And now, even as the Premier claims the passports are going away, employers have the choice to continue implementing these discriminatory, authoritarian, top-down, bully-style policies. And it's a shame because for 2 years, we could have done a better way by expanding early treatment and making it widely available, the treatment that is finally available in hospitals like St. Joe's and Hamilton. Speaker, what needs to happen immediately is we need to repeal the Reopening Ontario Act, Bill 195. We desperately need legislation in this province to outlaw and use fines against employers and facility operators who deny someone a job or access because of their medical status. And Speaker, my party, the New Blue Party of Ontario, would go many steps further than this bill and make these passport mandates illegal, not just a choice. And we would ensure the legislation seeks restitution for students who have dealt with lost educations and for protesters who have had their businesses shut down. But until that time, Speaker, you can rest assured that I will be voting in favour of this legislation.